I know the cause. Yeah, I put in the work that you don't. Day after day, I work and I play. Yeah, I'll do all the things that you won't. Even when my feet get tired, I will keep on moving higher. I'm the story you don't speak of. I'm the one they call the underdog. 'Cause every time the push comes too short, I'm climbing over you to reach the top. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all. Yeah, I want everything and nothing at all. 'Cause I want everything and nothing, nothing, nothing.
Is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, I think you might be right on that one. It does not matter for sure who the host is. Anyways, today is Wednesday, March the 9th of 2022, day 68th of the year, and only 297 days left to go. Hopefully everything was good and grand and the fantastic thing that we call an overnight. So hopefully you did some fun stuff and some things that you're worth bragging about, but maybe we should not brag too loud when it comes to some of these things. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big.
Yes, good old Radio Big is where we get to hang and bang and do all the stuff that we get to do together. So that's some cool stuff that we get to do. So how are you doing? How's your day going so far? How are you enjoying this lovely hump day? Are you starting off the day right? Maybe that's the other question. So as we are moving and grooving and starting to talk about everything that is going on, let's talk about what was trending, because that's what we do. We talk about the trends. By the way, a lot of people seem to be very interested in the Trapped by a Robot story. Hopefully, people weren't too upset. Some people were intrigued. People wanted more information. I could only give you the information that was provided by the news source. I am sure that there were some insider stuff inside of there that you could find out, but am not privy to that info, so I could not share it with you. So anyways, let's start talking. Let's talk about what was trending. Social media users celebrated International Women's Day on Tuesday by sharing quotes from women that they find inspirational. Greta Thunberg tweeted that the day is not for celebrating. It is for protesting against and raising awareness for the fact that people are still being oppressed or treated differently because of their gender. It's a good point. Very good point. Another trend that was hitting yesterday was lamb chops. Yeah, you heard me. Was trending yesterday. It is unclear exactly how or why the trend started, but many Twitter users did point out the sock puppet of the 1990s TV female. So perhaps it was in honor of International Women's Day. I mean, when I hear lamb chops, I think about a couple of different things. Well, of course, I think of lamb chops himself, and then I think of lamb chops like the sideburn wannabe thing that people have on their face. It's extremely scary, depending on the scenario. Okay, so what else do we have? Let's see. Westbrook was trending yesterday as Lakers star Russell Westbrook told reporters that he is done with fans calling him Westbrook. So there you go. I'm sure he's not going to have anybody else call him that because he said that he's done with fans calling them that. Think about it. And then, of course, the other thing that was talked about yesterday was Aaron Rodgers landed in Twitter's top 10 trends for Tuesday after signing a 4-year deal. And, of course, I'm sure you heard about the amount of moolah that was tied into the mix of things that people were pretty excited about. I mean, I never understand why a sports figure gets all kinds of money for doing stuff, why other people get so excited that this person's making all kinds of money. I mean, I'm confused, but I mean, I don't know. I would love to say that I wish I had a better understanding, but I am not sure that I could understand the understanding. Anyways, so let's talk about this real quick. Charts of the top fiction and nonfiction currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. So we'll take it from the top to the bottom here. In the fiction category, at number 5, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. At number 4, House of Sky and Breath. At number 3, Verity. At number 2, It Ends With Us. And at the number 1 spot, according to the fiction category, was The Paris Apartment. That sounds intriguing. The Paris Apartment. Okay, so now if we're going into the nonfiction category, according to the New York Times bestsellers list, at the number 5 spot was The Splendid and the Vile. At number 4 was Green Lights. That one seems to go in and out of the charts, so I don't know about that. Let's see, the 1619 Project was at number 3. At number 2 was The Body Keeps the Score. And at the number 1 spot was Red Handed. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on there. Anyways, let's talk about it. If you want to get involved inside of the show and do some things, you're more than welcome on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That will get you over here for us to hang out with you on this side of the equation. So there you go. Take a look at that. Call-in radio, messaging, text-wise, voicemail, or even video, if you want to go that far. And I take a gander at them from time to time when I do remember, and I'll glance over and take a look and see what we can pull in, pull out, and all of that kind of fun stuff, because that's how that works. Anyways, we do have some social media platforms, but not always stuff that I pay a lot of attention to, so I do apologize, because I know sometimes people get upset. Sorry, not my intent to make people mad, but it does happen from time to time. Okay, so let's talk some more. Let's take a look real quick. I think it's time for us to talk to our friends and talk about what is going on inside of the world of the news, because I think that those things are always important. So we can do it from the top or do it from the bottom, or we can do it all the way around. So here's what happens. This is the way that the show works, because some people don't understand how this works. We talk about safety, and we talk about the news, and we talk about the safety in the news, but we talk about a combination of both things. It's not only safety and it's not only news, and people get inside of here sometimes and just start going off of, well, this is not really all safety. Well, I hope not, because that's the glorious thing about it. You have to find the safety in the news. You get it? You get it? I hope you do. I hope you do. Let's move forward and get into the news with our friends here, and they can tell us what exactly is going on.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Vice President Harris is headed to Europe today amid a growing humanitarian crisis. More from Trey Thomas.
She'll stop in Poland first to thank the country for taking in most of the refugees from Ukraine. More than 2 million people have escaped since Russia invaded 14 days ago. Harris will likely also discuss Poland's offer to supply fighter jets to Ukraine. The U.S. rejected that, but is sending 2 Patriot anti-missile batteries to Poland.
Russia is agreeing to a temporary ceasefire to allow for civilian evacuations in Ukraine on this 14th day of fighting. Ukraine's deputy minister said during a briefing today that the ceasefire will be in effect for 12 hours along several humanitarian corridors. The International Committee of the Red Cross says it has confirmed that Russia has agreed to the evacuation routes. Drivers who need to fill up this morning are in for even more sticker shock. Gas prices are up 8 cents just from yesterday. AAA shows the national average is $4.25 a gallon, setting a new record. Experts put most of the blame on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. President Biden is halting Russian oil imports. Indications seem to be that some kind of deal was made between the U.S. and Venezuela based on the actions taken by the president Wednesday morning. Mike Bauer reports.
The Venezuelan government has released at least one of these so-called Citgo 6.
In 2017, 6 former oil executives of the U.S. refinery Citgo were arrested in Caracas on embezzlement charges, which they deny. 1, perhaps 2 of those executives were released Wednesday morning. This after the secret meeting included talks with the Biden administration's special presidential envoy for hostage affairs. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro described a meeting with American officials over the weekend as respectful, cordial, and very diplomatic.
Americans are being told not to fly to Ukraine unless they have a will. Thousands of people from all over the world have been traveling there to help the country defend itself against Russia. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Future Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. Evacuations for those attempting to escape Ukraine have begun once again. Fresh sanctions on Russian jets are set to be imposed by the UK in its airspace. Russian oil imports have been banned in the US, with other nations aiming to reduce their dependency by the end of the year. And McDonald's and Starbucks have both closed their operations in Russia because of the invasion in Ukraine.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
A federal anti-lynching bill is expected to arrive on President Biden's desk today. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act was passed by the Senate on Monday. It allows crimes to be prosecuted as lynching if a victim is killed or injured as a result of a hate crime. The NAACP says there were about 4,700 lynchings in the U.S. from 1882 to 1968, and more than 70% of those killed were black. The organization is urging the president to sign the bill as soon as possible. With prices up 7.5% over a year ago, grocery shoppers are cutting back.
I don't buy like bacon anymore because it's just the price is ridiculous and stuff. So, I mean, I will do half gallon of milk instead of full gallon of milk.
The fruit. Grapes, I had to stop buying because they were $48 a pound. I mean, that's just insane.
It's not just shopping lists that are getting smaller because of inflation. Some manufacturers are downsizing their products, selling smaller packages for the same or higher prices. That's called shrinkflation. A Creighton University economist says he would have predicted inflation to ease up in the second half of this year. That was before Russia invaded Ukraine. He says the longer the conflict goes on, the longer inflation is likely to affect the U.S. economy. Students from the largest high school in Florida plan on walking out this morning in protest of the Parental Rights in Education bill. 17-year-old Cypress Bay Jr. Liana Friedman says they're ready to speak out against what critics are calling the Don't Say Gay bill.
This is like our way of taking action against it, to use those like negative feelings about it to try to like make a positive impact.
The bill bans instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in kindergarten through third grade. Supporters say the goal is to ensure curriculum is age appropriate and it gives parents increased control over their children's education. Bob Dylan is coming out with a new book later this year. The legendary singer-songwriter will release The Philosophy of Modern Song on November 8th. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
People been saying
bullied online, you can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopRex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you. It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. Hanging and banging, clanging and banging, and doing the things that we get to do. Anyway, so let's start talking right away about some of the stuff that we're seeing inside of this multiverse of ours. By the way, thanks for the cutesy message there on call-in radio. Kind of funny. I don't think I should probably share it out loud just to make the reference. But I did get it. Thank you. Anyways, President Joe Biden announced on... Yeah, it's pretty simple. You'll figure out who you are. President Joe Biden announced on Tuesday a ban on importing Russian oil. The United Kingdom and European Union are also actively looking to get off the Russian spigot. Russia spokeschairman threatened oil could exceed $300 a barrel if Russia cut off from the international trade. Meanwhile, the United Nations estimated 2 million Ukrainians have fled the country since Russia began the invasion. More than half of those have taken refuge in Poland. Also, Coke and McDonald's are ending their business operations in Russia. So some things to think about. So, I mean, you heard it here a few minutes ago, 8 cents increase from yesterday to today. So I'm sure we'll talk about that in a hot sec. But just think about this in regards of what you're feeling at the pump and the things that are changing and how quick it is changing. That will be the other segment that people will continue to talk about. So we're going to see how these things will go as we are moving ahead. And I will tell you, the sticker shock that is going on at the pump for a lot of people right now is mesmerizing. So let's just talk about it that way. Anyways, for the children, at least 30,000 Minneapolis area students won't be able to go to class indefinitely as public school teachers go on strike. The Minneapolis Federation of Teachers say that they will strike, and it's for the safe and stable schools that our students deserve. A representative of the union said that the teachers have been having to do so much more with much less. So worth noting, it does seem that things have changed significantly for them. So doing more with less also describes a lot of things that the teachers had to go through and organizations had to do over the last 2 years. And of course, you can be kind of mean and rude and all that kind of fun stuff and turn around and say, well, that could apply to almost every sector or private sector that is going on. So leave it for what it is.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a Brooklyn man headed to Arizona last week to take in nature and do some mountain climbing. Things didn't go great. On Wednesday, he called police after getting lost in the Humphreys trails outside of Flagstaff. Eventually, the rescue vehicles found him and got him into safety. The next day, he called again to report the falling down a ridge requiring a rescue helicopter for him and the hiker who stopped to help him. So there you go. Interesting times as you are taking a look at that for sure. So let's bring in Johnny Smalls real quick and let him tell us about what is going on inside of the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. Equity markets tried to stage a rebound Tuesday despite rising oil prices and fear in the Ukraine. By the end of the day, however, the move had turned to a dead cat bounce, leaving the index down for the session and at the lowest closing level in over 6 months. In oil news, the price of West Tex Intermediate rose more than 5% intraday to peak above $130 a barrel. The price is rising because Russian capacity is getting priced out of the market, and there's no indication yet where the shortfall will be made up. For consumers, this means a summer of record high gas prices and another year of double-digit inflation. In regards to inflation, the CPI data is due out Thursday and is not expected to soothe fears. The market has backtracked on its expectations for FOMC rate hikes and now sees the possibility for no hike at the next meeting. We think the CPI data will put those hopes to rest. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for letting us know what is going on. I mean, it is one of those things that as we are talking about this, it gets more and more interesting day in and day out as what we're seeing inside of the market. And as we get to have some of these conversations, that is for sure. Anyways, after the afternoon of rally, the Dow closed down 0.5% on Tuesday. West Texas Intermediate crude oil traded up to about $5, around $125 a barrel. What else did we get over there? Brent crude oil was about $120 a gallon, and natural gas prices had a record high of $4.17. And I think it's going to just get more interesting as we start talking about this, because what are you going to be looking at this summer? I mean, let's just think about it. A lot of families go out during the summertime and they say, hey, it is time to go around and go about, and we're going to do opposed to actually spending high prices on possibly flying. We are just going to go in our vehicle and get to wherever the hell we want to go to. I mean, that's going to be a little roughy, if you know what I'm saying, in regards of going out there and trying to do that right now. So that's something to think about. So a lot of stuff is happening during this time. Anyways, a new study of the Nature Communications discusses the analysis of 328-million-year-old fossil of an octopus-like sea creature that has 10 tentacles. The discovery is estimated to have the age shift of the timeline when the scientists believe that such animals started appearing in the oceans about 82 million years ago. The fossil itself is tiny, just about 12 centimeters long. By the way, researchers have given to the discovery of the formal name after President Joe Biden, and it's like Simposamodi Badeni. So there you go. No word on what that is a tribute to the commander-in-chief or mocking his age. So I am not sure which one it is, and I am not trying to do either one. I am just trying to give you information on what's going on out there. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick. You heard it a little bit earlier, but let's talk a little bit more. Temporary ceasefire declared. A temporary ceasefire is reportedly in place today as parts of Ukraine to allow civilians to evacuate as Russia invasion rolls on. NBC's Molly Hunter is in southeastern Ukraine and says that people are desperate for the fighting to stop.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and again today, there has been an attempted ceasefire in Mariupol, an attempted humanitarian corridor to get those civilians out. It has failed every single day because the Russians have continued to shell in that direct area where they knew that civilians were going to be evacuated.
Okay, so earlier this morning, Russia again agreed to stop firing for the next several hours so more people can safely escape 5 cities. It comes 14 days after the Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his troops into the neighboring Ukraine. NBC's Molly Hunter is in the city there where she says the situation is dire.
The mayor says about 300,000 people are in dire need. These are people who have been living all week without water, without heat, without electricity.
So there you go. Sounds like some horrific times taking place there as things are going into place around as we are talking right now. 27 minutes past the top of the hour. This is the Rated R Safety Show. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. We are talking quite a bit about a little bit of everything, especially when it comes to this world of what's going on. So let's go into a little bit more into the oil conversation. International oil makers dismiss Venezuela essentially as a catastrophe. So let's take a listen real quick. The United States seems to be turning Venezuela into to mitigate the fallout of the pump on the oil embargo. Mike Bowers has more information.
U.S. officials had what appear to be very successful talks with Venezuela over the weekend. But just over a year ago, international oil markets dismissed Venezuela as a catastrophe, too beaten down and too mismanaged ever to regain relevance in the oil-producing world. Not one, but 2 rounds of U.S. sanctions, an electricity blackout that took production offline, the loss of oil storage in the Caribbean, and revenues shrank a whopping 99% in the 6 years ending in early 2021. That has experts saying it would take about $250 billion of investment and 7 to 8 years to bring Venezuela's oil production back to its former levels. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, so let's talk about that 7 to 8 years. I don't think that's going to cut it for anybody with the things that are going on right now. Anyway, Governor Newsome proposes gas tax rebate. Take a listen to this. The average gas price in California is up another 13 cents today, reaching a $5.57 per gallon during last night's state of the state address. Governor Gavin Newsom proposed a gas tax rebate.
I'll be submitting a proposal to put money back in the pockets of Californians to address rising gas prices.
So how much money drivers would be getting back and when the rebate will kick in? Well, those are unclear. California has the most expensive gas in the nation, largely because of its taxes and environmental laws leading to the cost of oil companies pass on to drivers. Newsom says that there will not be an increase in oil drilling in California or off its coast. I have to tell you, if you ever really get bored, and it's kind of it's an interesting one. Take a look on how some of the oil rigs are hidden in plain sight in California. Look it up. You'll have all kinds of fun, and you might be in shock if you find it, because if I tell you, you're going to be like, I think that dude's lying to me. And I get it. So that's why I'm saying, look for oil rigs that are hidden in plain sight in California. and you might be really amazed on what you can find. Anyways, I think it's that time. It is 30 minutes past the top of the hour, and let's start talking right away about what is going on inside of our main story for today.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, you have seen it has been year over year of things taking place inside of the world of movies. You have seen year over year how things are changing, but still the same in the world of movies. And what do I mean about this? I'm talking about all of these movies that are making a comeback, but they're not prequels and they're not remakes, but they're similar and familiar material. So you're taking a look, and we can use the analogy of looking at the latest Star Wars franchise. Let's just use that for a brief example. And you sit back and you go, well, I remember seeing this story, and I remember it going through, and I remember kind of almost exactly what's going to happen, but there is some familiar information, but not identical. So let's just look for that meaning of what a requel is real quick. A movie which revisits the subject matter of an earlier film, but it's not a remake or a linear continuation of its plot, or a sequel or a prequel. Now, keep in mind that nowadays, if you start talking about prequels, depending on where you hang out inside of this world, you might get shunned. You might get that look of, your prequel? Well, let's not talk about that. That's so 90s of you. So, prequel is not the way. What we need to talk about is requels. And it's amazing that when you start taking a look around inside of the world where you and I get to hang out, are you noticing safety requels? Now, let's talk about this. And it's pretty similar to what I was just saying. Because think about it. It is familiar material, but it kind of has, we'll say, a spin on it. Maybe that's the way to think about it. Because here's what's going on. I think that sometimes we end up forgetting how important the actual, focus material should be, opposed to the rewrite, the change, the subject change. And here's what happens. I want you to think about this for just a moment. I'm not going to sit here and say it's time to go back to basics, because that sounds kind of, blah. But we have some people that are out there currently that are trying to repackage what they're doing. They're trying to repackage what other people have put out there many, many, many times ago. And if you take a look at certain things, you can take a look at materials that are out there that people are taking and repurposing and just running with it as if they had made the thing up themselves. Think about it for a moment. Think about how that actually works. There are people that are out there that are running and just recreating. I can't even say recreating. They're just taking the source material and, slapping some new stick on it. And, of course, putting themselves into what that sequence is of things. Now, I guess I can understand it to an extent. But also at the same time, too, I struggle with it. Because it seems like nothing new is coming about. Nothing new is really happening inside of the orgs. Nothing new is happening inside of the industry. So let's talk about this real quick, because I think this is what we forget. So let's use this concept here that we talk about quite often, known as HOP, or Human and Organizational Performance, for the people that may have never heard the term. I don't think that there is a need yet to go out there and try to repurpose the information. Because if you really take a look around in the industry, on average, maybe 11% of people, yes, 11% of people have heard the term. And keep in mind that this technology has been around between 25 to 30 years, depending on who you speak with. So if that is the case, what is the purpose of repackaging? What is the purpose of actually taking the subject matter and changing it? it's amazing to me that would be the purpose, especially if people have not heard the source material. Now, here's the fun part. You can actually go listen to a proficient speaker about any subject matter, and you might go once, and you might go twice, and you might even go a third time and go, well, these stories are similar. But here's the thing. The average person will not go hear a speaker speak 3 times about the same subject matter, just not kind of the way that it goes, but there will be similarities inside of that actual conversation for the reason of this. Not everybody has heard it. So just because you have heard something, and maybe because I have heard something, does not mean that everybody has. And that's how that world that we live in works. Just because it might be old to you, it could be new to somebody else, or vice versa. So at what point do you start going, repackaging makes sense, especially if the people have never heard the core material, the subject of where it all started? So are you noticing the way that I'm noticing that there are safety requels? Not in some places, but all over the place. And let's just kind of take a look at it. Some people will claim that it is paying homage to the source material, but then there's others that are out there that don't even reference where they got the source material from. It's an interesting loop on how this works. So if you have the opportunity right now and you were going to present material that you deemed important, that you relate to safety, would you go based off of the source, or would you go based off of a requel? That's something that you have to think about as the independent operator or the actual user or the trainer on how you would do that. And don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing that's important. Getting people home safe, better conditions of what they were and alive. But how do you put the spin on the source information? That's the question for you. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a new dentist in Orlando, you'll love Dr. Brittany Baker and the team at Woodland Lakes Dental. Working with you to tailor your experience is their priority, and they'll partner with you to meet your goals. Passionate about helping families with options that support your desire for a beautiful and healthy smile. They love kids and offer a calming environment and an educational approach. Woodland Lakes Dental's goal is that you feel comfortable that your family has good basis for a lifetime of excellent oral health, while we help you make confident choices for your family's care. To find out more information or to book an appointment, go to woodlandlakesdental.com. That's woodlandlakesdental.com, or call 407-214-4668. That's 407-214-4668. Woodland Lakes Dental friendly staff and Dr. Brittany Baker, DMD, will take care of you. Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
'Cause I'm gonna turn the world upside down. If you want a shot, just step in the ring. Yeah, I'ma shake your bones like thunder. Even when my feet get tired, I will keep on moving higher. I'm the story you don't speak of. I'm the one they call the underdog. 'Cause every time the push comes too short, I'm climbing over you to reach the top. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all. Yeah, I want everything and nothing at all. 'Cause I want everything and nothing, 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 nothing at all. I don't want nothing at all, unless I can have it all. I don't want nothing, nothing at all. I don't want nothing at all, unless I can have it all. Nothing at all. Yeah, I am not the favorite son, but I'm the one who's been here all along. 'Cause every time the push comes too short, I'm climbing over you to reach the top. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all.
Okay, there you go. That's Willie Echo
'Cause I want everything and
with Everything or Nothing.
nothing at all.
And this song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Thanks for Willie Echo for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So anyways, let's get back into it. It is currently 44 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging and banging and doing the things that we get to do in the lovely morning time. Well, morning time where I'm located, that's for sure. So let's continue talking about some other things because that's what's going on right now. So looking from the very top of things as we are going through, let's take a look because we're going to need to talk about this, but fuming about perfume as the skyrocketing prices of food and fuel weren't bad enough, and they are. Let's get the latest commodities to soar in cost. Perfume. Yep. The price of premium perfumes recently jumped to levels that never seen before. Stats of the average price of fragrances rose by 15% in 2021, triple the average of 5% increase during the prior 2 years. Don't blame the general inflation or the situation in Ukraine. It has a lot more to do with the consumer behavior and the stress of the uncertainty. Larissa Jensen, who is the VP of Research at the firm of NPD, says that the sector started to see swell of growth during the pandemic, where consumers were willing to trade up for premium fragrances. Let's see. Her company's theory is that people were looking to treat themselves to a little bit of luxury during the difficult times. She says that the fancy scents also allows them to escape, even momentarily, and experience a different emotion. The increase in the demand naturally led to the increase of prices that consumers would be willing to pay for. If you lived with us as many teenagers as I do, you'd understand the things about scents allowing you to escape for a moment. And I blame Beyonce for putting out the fragrance about every 4 months. And I cannot believe that I go through that whole story without saying the phrase supply chain issue once. It's kind of shocking if you think about it.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you all day, and that's going to be any day that you and I get to hang, talk, or whatever. Let me tell you about my friends at the Foundation for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences of people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org to find out more, or you can call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741. There you go. That'll be the information where we can get it moving and grooving and going from there. That is for sure, because it's important. It's important. They, like I say all the time, they have real stories. They have ways that you can make a difference in your local community. They also have a way that you can join the local chapter. All you have to do is, like I said, go to afsp.org or call 1-800-273-8255 or text the word TALK to 741-741. Anyways, let's continue moving real quick and seeing what else is going out there inside of the world of the news, because that is what we're going to be talking about, as you are aware. What else do we have going on? I think we talked about this already, so let's go ahead and skip over that. Let's talk about some guard shooting that has been taking place. Security guard for WGN-TV killed in a shooting. 2 people are being questioned after a security guard for WGN-TV was shot and killed in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. The family of Selena Claiborne is devastated.
My heart is breaking, so I don't know how I'm going to get through. I don't.
Police say that Claiborne was in her car on Monday in the 6700 block of South Jeffrey when a black vehicle pulled up and someone inside opened fire. The victim was shot in the shoulder and the face and then taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. No charges have been filed as we speak. So that's information that is going on right now. Some other things that are going on inside of the world. So, a subway rider attacked with a hammer. The search of one man who attacked a subway rider with a hammer on the 14th Street station last night in New York. Riders say that it's normally feel pretty safe at that stop.
I'm very surprised. I tend to feel very safe in these places, so seeing something like this kind of makes me feel like it's a little more real, and maybe the subways are less safe than I thought they were.
Okay, the victim says he has accidentally bumped into his attacker on the platform around 9:15. He says the second later that the man hit him over the head with a hammer. He was rushed to the Bellevue Hospital. The attacker raced out of the subway station and has not been caught. Police say that the victim is an Asian man and says that they are investigating the attack as a possible hate crime. So there you go. Some very odd things going on outside in this world of ours as we speak. What else do we have going on around here? I think after something like that, maybe we should talk about the Motivation Minute, and let's go ahead and bring in Johnny Smalls for him to tell us about it.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today, we have a tribute to quotes from the unknown. Here's a few anonymous quotes. Don't compare yourself to others. Keep playing the competitive game between you and you. I like that one. Here's another. Be the writer of your life and the reader of your mind. The more you know yourself, the less you need approval of others. That's another great quote. I think these two go really well together. Think about the amount of time wasted by people who are trying to oppress or outdo others. Why? Focus on you. Make yourself better. It's good for you and your growth, and it will probably make your competitors upset when you just ignore them. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Advertising changes our lives in more ways than we notice, and food advertising is no exception. In 2019, a UK government body responsible for the Transport Network in London banned junk food advertising in public transportation. A follow-up study was recently published in PLOS Medicine demonstrating how this ban affected consumer food purchases. After analyzing millions of grocery shopping receipts in the area impacted by the ban, researchers found that the ban resulted in a drop of 1,000 calories in food purchases per household per week. This reduction was most significant in confectionery items, such as chocolate, as well as other foods high in sugar, fats, and sodium. This is one of the many examples how food advertising impacts our choices and, subsequently, our wellness. For additional information, check out alessamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, we're sure trying to be something, not sure what that is. Maybe entertaining might be part of that segment as we are talking. Anyways, let's see. Governor Mulls over possible gas tax suspension in New York. There's a debate in Albany on whether to suspend the gas tax in New York State because of the soaring prices at the pump. Scott Pringle has more information.
Both Republican and Democratic New York State lawmakers are calling for the suspension of the state tax on gasoline. While Governor Hochul tells Spectrum News there's no guarantee New Yorkers will see lower prices at the pump if she suspends the gas tax, but she is talking with her budget office about it. The price of gas has been soaring, with experts putting most of the blame on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The average price for gas in New York State is approaching $4.50 a gallon. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for that one, for letting us know what exactly is going on. So here you go. Anyways, here's a little not so good news. Stories keep in your back pocket for when the hot weather arrives. Apparently, extremely hot and humid weather can kill a person a lot more easily than previously thought. A Pennsylvania State University study of one of the first to directly assess the humid heat stress among young people found that when the humidity is about absolute max, the upper limit of a human adaptability is just about 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 4 degrees less than theoretical estimates, and for the older people, the threshold is even lower. Compared to hot, dry climates, the human body cannot withstand hot and humid conditions nearly as well. That's because 100% humidity, sweat cannot dissipate as easily to cool our bodies down. In an absolutely dry environment, the human threshold for survival is probably around 50 degrees there. That can't be right. But completely environmental of a new result suggests the temperatures need to be only reach about 31 degrees Celsius. Therefore, before our bodies go into stroke. And as a parent, trust me, While our bodies cannot take it beyond 31 degrees Celsius, the upper limit of the pair of sweat socks are considered less. So they're saying something in the swimming pool in the backyard doesn't qualify as a complete humidity environment, just so you know. So we can't use that as a perfectly good excuse. Anyways, it is 54 minutes past the top of the hour, so that means that we are getting close to the end of this thing. I will be going over to radiobig.fm exclusively. If you want to come out and hang out and do all that kind of fun stuff that I do over there, you're more than welcome on doing so. Anyways, no winner for Monday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $99 million jackpot, or let's see, a $67.9 million cash payout. And maybe if you do win, you can afford some gas after that. Some things to think about. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1997, Notorious B.I.G. is murdered in Los Angeles. It is suspected the West Coast gangs were behind it. Tupac Shakur had been killed 6 months earlier in Las Vegas. 2 years earlier, Tupac was shot during a robbery in New York recording studio, which was believed to be ordered by Biggie, and then the back and forth continued. We're looking at some birthdays that are going on today. Let's talk about that. Sun Lee turns 19. She's the Olympic gymnast. Let's see. YG rapper turns 32. Bow Wow turns 32. Brittany Snow 36. Matt Barnes 42. Chingy turns 42. Matthew Gray Gubler turns 42. Melina Paris 43. Oscar Isaac 43. Emmanuel Lewis 51. And Steve Wilkos, the TV show host, turns 58 today. So there's some birthdays if you wanted to take a gander at those. Let's talk real quick because we got a little bit of time. Let's talk about Did You Know? According to a recent poll, nearly 1 in 3 people think that Ben Affleck is the best Batman. In the survey of 1,000 Americans in anticipation of last Friday's release of The Batman starring Robert Pattinson, Affleck with 31% of the vote barely edged out Michael Keaton at 30% of their favorite Batman. Kevin Conroy, Christian Bale, and Adam West all ranked in third, fourth, and fifth respectively, while George Clooney, self-described franchise killer, ranked at 23%, and he wasn't at the bottom of the list. The honor goes to Will Arnett. Comedic portrayal of the Lego Batman. The Lego Batman movie scored at 21% of the whole thing. So some things to think about as we are talking and moving and grooving. So there you go. Anyway, so that's what's going on that side right there. What else do we have as we are talking? Let me give you some whack facts real quick because it is Wednesday, so let's call it Wacky Wednesday if we have the opportunity to do so. Studies show that developing larger vocabulary may help protect against your depression by allowing you to precisely label and confront subtle emotions. The odds of getting a hole-in-one of golf is estimated at 18,000 to 1. Ninjas don't wear black. Traditional ninjas know the importance of blending in, so they usually disguise themselves as civilians. The O before the Irish name, such as O'Reilly, means descendant of. Bart Simpson's name's an anagram is Brat. Well, if you think about his full name, it's Bartholomew Jojo Simpson. So there you go. And then what else? A 2010 study found that people fluent in multiple languages almost always swear in their native tongue. So there you go. I've heard some people swear in their native tongue but doing some weird stuff, which I guess that's a whole other conversation for a different day. Anyways, if I can give you a random joke for today, I got one. Some men love to get sex. Some women use sex to get love. I use coupons to get pizza. Yeah, probably don't say that one in a mixed company. Let's see. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What is the funniest or most clever use of advertising you've ever seen? If you have a question for the water cooler, try this one. In a survey, 3 out of 4 people admitted to sharing this with their pet. What is it? An ice cream cone. So there you go. Some things to think about. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we had going on here on the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM and Radio Big. We can't do what we do without you, the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. That is for sure. So thank you for taking a listen. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to come over to radiobig.fm, you're more than welcome on doing so. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. If you have no roadmap, you have to create your own. Think about that. I'll get you far. Anyways, I know who you are. Duh. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.